jump into it, guys. Obviously, most of you we've met before, so it's good to see you all again. Good to kind of virtually get back together. All this good stuff going on. So thank you guys for tuning in. We'll be recording the session, so don't say anything or do anything that you won't put out on the internet. We'll have this recorded, so we'll send it to you guys afterwards. If you have team members, other people that you want to share it with, folks that you think maybe could benefit from the classes, you can share the video with them and invite them to the next one. Like we said, we're going to do it every Wednesday at 1 p.m. From henceforth, and just kind of do it this way. So this class is, like I said, number 4 of 8, and it's based on initial contact. Basically, what we're going to be trying to accomplish today is talking about how to prospect appropriately, how to prospect at a certain cadence and keep yourself accountable to continuously prospecting, even through changing times like we're in right now, where, this is not normal for us, but we still have to keep our prospecting activity high. It may be different than what we're used to. We're maybe not doing open houses in person right now. We're maybe not doing a lot of pop buys and in-person things and coffee meetings and things like that, but we can still prospect. And, right now the best thing to do is leverage the tools that we have via Zoom, leverage the phone, leverage social media and things like that, things that we can reach out to a lot of people and have a good impact without being in person, right? So we have to be able to still prospect no matter what's going on, because that's our number one job as real estate salespeople. We are salespeople. So, it's a contact sport. So the person with the most contact wins, right? So, like I said, we've gone over some other things about vision and business planning and time management and goal setting and all these other things to get us to this point. So, do you guys have any questions about anything we covered previously? Anything you want me to touch up on before we jump into this? Let's see if we can unmute everyone. Let's see here. No? All right. Everybody give me a thumbs up if you're good. Cool. Justin, I will assume you're giving me a thumbs up. Okay. So as we move through here, I don't know if I can control the slides. Okay. So the first thing we're going to do, we'll play the video here. Let's see. For initial contact, I believe this is going to be Rick Ruby, talking about, how he goes through the day. He's going to be talking about the greatness tracker and stuff like that. We'll play this video. We'll run through it. We'll stop it in a couple parts that I feel like we should clarify a little bit. And then once the video's over, we'll take questions about anything that he said in there, and then we'll kind of jump into the whole course and review step by step how we're going to implement what he talked about. Okay. Hey, Justin. Good to see you, man. You're looking pretty today. Let's see here. Everyone hear and see that all right?
Okay, course student, now you have finished the first 3 steps of the 12 steps to doubling your income. We're going to talk today about step 4. Very, very critical. It's called initial contact. In the last step, you learned about the perfect week at a glance, about the theme days and who to call. So now we're going to talk more detailed about initial contact. Real estate is a sales game. This is what you do. If you're going to double your business, you must prospect. What we say at the core is prospect, prospect, and more prospecting. So let's talk about it. Initial contact. We have one single form that will also help you double your business. That is our greatness tracker. That is the one form that you are going to play that game every week. And you're going to learn to record your activities and know, are you spending time where you
Hey,
need
Liz,
to
let's
be
pause it right there for a
in
second.
sales? So on that.
Okay, so I just want to make sure, was everyone able to access the Google Drive link, get the documents for the class? When she says the greatness tracker, do you know what we're talking about? Do you have a copy of that in front of you?
I do not.
Okay.
Maybe. No, I don't.
Yeah, I don't have one either, regretfully.
Okay, let's do this. Will you, each of you, send Liz an email real quick? That way she can send you the Google Drive link back, and you can access that and pull up the greatness tracker
Your email is?
while we go through this.
It's Liz D at VIPMTGINC.com.
What was the N1? IMC? IMC for Charlie?
INC like Inc.
Inc.
VIP Mortgage Inc. is what it's shortened for.
Okay, great. Thank you. I'll send
Thank
you right
you.
out.
Yeah.
Yeah, just type her a quick email, test or class or whatever in the subject, and she'll send that link back to you. Let's pull up the greatness tracker, and then we'll run the video for it after that.
I'm not sure how to minimize the video, to be honest.
Hit escape.
Just hit escape.
Yes, sir.
Escape, and then you'll
I'll
be
do
able to
it.
minimize.
Okay.
Hey, Kyle.
Yes, sir.
On the Google Drive, which one is the what's the title of the one that we're looking at today?
Initial contact.
Got it.
So yeah, they might not be in chronological order, but yeah.
Got it.
And this is our first time taking this thing onto Zoom and doing it this way. So thank you guys for helping us work out the bugs and the kinks and all that.
So Kyle, do you want to go over what the greatness tracker is, or do you want me to continue the video?
Yeah. So if you want, just leave it on there, and I'll go over the portions of the greatness tracker while everybody's pulling it up, and then we'll continue the video after that. All right, y'all let me know when you've got the greatness tracker there in front of you, when you can see it. Let's see. Try to send that. All right, Jerry and Brett.
Is it in Google already?
What's your email, sir? There we go. All right. Okay, can everyone see Liz's screen here, or see the screen share with the greatness tracker on it?
Yeah.
Okay, great. So we'll just run through this real quick, and I'll get the greatness tracker to you guys while the video is going. So at the top here, we got face-to-faces and break breads, and then right below that, we've got great phone calls. So these are the top three like prospecting, outbound prospecting activity areas that we track. Face-to-faces are exactly what they sound like. Anytime you're meeting with someone face-to-face for business, talking about business, maybe you met them at a networking event, whatever the case may be, you have a listing appointment with someone, buyer's consultation, you met them at open house. These are all face-to-faces. Anytime we're belly to belly physically in front of someone for the purpose of business. What we're shooting for is to get 15 of those per week. Now, I know it sounds a little difficult to get 15 face-to-faces per week and set 15 appointments, and it would be difficult to set 15 individual appointments each week. What we're looking at here is, like if you hold an open house and you get 6 or 8 people through the open house, there's half your face-to-faces right there. Okay, so we just want to be in contact with enough people each week to fill this up. Break breads, on the other hand, are meetings that we have that are over coffee or lunch or something where we're sitting with someone and breaking bread. Generally, that's a more meaningful conversation. You have food in the mix, and it becomes a deeper conversation sometimes when that's there. So that's why we differentiate the two. Only 5 of those per week. Like I said, if you can set 5 coffee meetings, or you take someone out for a showing and then you guys sit down at Starbucks afterwards and have some coffee, talk about the offer, that's a break bread. Okay. But that's a good, meaningful conversation. And then below that is phone calls. We shoot to have 60 of those per week. This is 60 talk tos, not just dial-ups, right? We're not just dialing the phone and leaving voicemails and counting them. We are talking to people. And since we built our lists already in the first couple of sessions, we know what people we're going to call on what days, right? So we don't have to spend time figuring out who to call. We just get the list out and say, okay, today is, Wednesday, I'm calling my hot leads. Today's Thursday, I'm calling my VIPs. Today's Friday, I'm calling my past clients. Whatever that day is for you, we're calling those people. And so that's how you spend your time tactically and efficiently calling and filling up this greatness tracker. If you do this every week, it will increase your business just by the amount of contact that you are putting out there in the world. You're making the attempts, you're making the contacts. People are hearing your name. People are knowing about you. The problem that we see in real estate most is not that people don't want to use you because you're not as good as XYZ other agent or whatever. It's that people don't know you. So if you can get your name out there in the world, you can call enough people, talk to enough people, send enough thank you cards, be in front of enough people. Now people know you. Now they have the opportunity to use you, because that's the first step. If we don't ever have the opportunity to impress someone or to serve someone, then we were never in the game to begin with, right? So any questions about this top half of the greatness tracker so far? Cool. Now, as we go down the greatness tracker, we have events, videos, hours prospected, things like that. Events, if you're going to networking events, things like that, or you're hosting home buyers education seminars, whatever you're doing, either events that you're hosting or attending that have to do with business, you'll put them there. We want to, attend 1 or 2 of those per week. Videos are big in our business right now. And it says 250 there on the right-hand side. As how many we're supposed to send out. That doesn't mean you have to do 250 videos a week. It just means like if you have a database of, 200 people or 250 people, or you got 100 past clients, or 200 past clients, you send a video to those 250 past clients, there's your 250 videos sent. You sent a video to 250 people, right? So I want to try and do that. And then hours prospected just tracks how many hours did I prospect today? How many hours did I spend actually moving the needle in green time? In our time management class, we went over, breaking down your time into green, red, personal time, things like that. Green time is when we are actually prospecting, either on the phone or in front of people, coffee meetings, listing appointments, buyers, presentations, things like that. So what I found in my business is that I'm busy all day. Right. I am incredibly busy. From the time I get here until the time I go home, I could have done 6 hours more work and still not been done. But when I look at how much actual prospecting activity I did, it was actually pretty minimal compared to the amount of hours that I actually spent working that day. So if I did a 8 or a 10 or a 12-hour day, I probably actually only spent 3 or 4 hours prospecting, and so that gets me in the right mindset to put my focus on the things that actually drive our business and actually bring in leads and and make it rain essentially, right? And thank you cards, we try to send out 10 a week. Send those to anybody that sends you a lead, anybody that does anything for you, anybody that obliges you with a coffee meeting or a listing appointment or anything like that. Send out a thank you card, handwritten thank you card to follow up, right? And then, so everything above that is tracking your activity. What are you doing, right? Everything below this is tracking the results that you get from said activity, right? So if we're doing 15 face-to-faces and 5 break breads and 60 phone calls, and we're sending out videos and thank you cards, we should be getting leads and listings and buyers, and things like that. So the bottom portion here is to track our conversion and what results we get. So if you're doing all these things, you're not getting any leads, or you're getting leads, but you're not converting them to listing appointments or buyers presentations or whatever it is, then there's something there that needs to be tweaked. You're having all these great phone conversations, you're not getting any leads. Maybe you need to ask for the business. Maybe you need to change your script a little bit. Provide value for them that makes them want to use you, that give them a hook that makes them want to act, right? And we can talk about scripting and things like that later. If you're getting 10 leads a week, but they're not turning into listings or buyers or whatever, maybe you need to be a little more aggressive, a little more, I wouldn't say aggressive, a little more tactical, drive the conversation to a decision point for the client, right? Do you need to buy or sell a home, right? So any questions about the Greatness Tracker, what it is, why we use it, any of the sections, any questions on that before we jump into the video? Okay. So now that you've seen it, you'll know exactly what Rita is talking about while she's going through this video, okay? If you guys have any questions during the video, raise your hand, stop us, and we'll answer, okay?
Have to go back to where we were. It's going to take me a second.
No problem. Yeah, that's about right.
Is in sales. So on that form, the most important step in how we start relationships is called great phone calls. So your goal is to hit 60 great talk-tos, not dial-ups, but talk-tos every week. You are going to refer to the theme days that you learned in step 3. You're going to be calling past clients, business people, building referral partners. You're going to make initial contact. You're going to be calling sellers and your buyers for status updates, asking them who else do they know that's looking to buy or sell. So we're going to use that as our lead generating form, and it starts with a phone call, because that's how you leverage time, is with a phone call. You notice that on your week at a glance, you have time blocks. You're going to sit down and make those proactive calls. That's what happens in the great phone call part of this form. Then after that, once we have phone calls, we want to build that relationship. So then we want to schedule some face-to-faces. That's another way to meet people. And for people you already know, it's a great way to get belly to belly and really deepen that relationship. Okay, and your goal for the week is to have 15 face-to-faces. So you're saying, wow, how am I going to do that? Well, there's a formula you can use that I've used for many years, and that is make sure you're attending at least one business event every 2 weeks. Meet new people. When you go meet them, you want to collect business cards. Bring them back. We're going to add them to the database and talk about that detail. But your goal is to meet people, because your job is to sell. Your job is to go out and help people with their real estate needs. When I ask realtors across the country, why did you get into this business? What do you think the most common answer is? I love people and I want to help them. Well, guys, if you want to help them, you got to talk to them. And that is initial contact. So your job is to go out, meet people, meet other business people, and find out, do you need real estate help? All right. And if you do not wind up doing business with them, you're not going to do business with everybody. So don't put it in your head about rejection. There is no such thing. Your job is to go out and talk to everybody, and you are not for everybody. So remember, a no is another step to yes. So now we've talked about a great phone call where relationships start, and then we've gone to face-to-face and we're deepening the relationship. Now the next step, if we really want to go deeper in a relationship, is to break bread with people. This is where the sales barriers break down, and this is where we become personal. We're sharing food and drink, and it's more social. So you're going to schedule break breads with your clients, the new builder, the business people, and meet them face to face, okay? This is what you're going to record on your greatness tracker, the one form. We also want to acknowledge people. In the day of technology and emails and e-cards, we here at the Core want you to do a handwritten thank you note. That's your goal, is 10 thank you notes a week. Acknowledge people. When maybe a vendor does something kind for you or a seller's having a tough time, write them a note. It's personal. When they get it, they go, wow, somebody took the time to think of me, to write it down and to mail it. So that's a great way to make an impression. Also on this form, we're going to wind up tracking how many leads did you generate. We need to know how well you're doing on your initial contact. So you're going to put down how many leads every day you get. Just a quick story, but one of our coaches that we have now, Alan Huggins out of Nashville, Tennessee, he came into this coaching group and he was actually below the radar. He wasn't quite qualified, but he said, you know what? We took him. He was the charity case. He was netting in his pocket around $90,000 a year. He started doing the prospecting. He did the greatness tracker, but he didn't see the results changing as fast. So we had a call about that. I said, Alan, how many of these are newer people that you're talking to? And what we discovered is he was meeting with the same people, talking to the same people, same face-to-faces. So he wasn't growing his sphere of influence. So then he started adding new people onto this list and bam, he exploded. All right, Alan has gone from our charity case, making $90,000 a year in his pocket, to now $400,000, and he's a coach. And this is what this form will do for you. So it's so important when you listen to the CD and get the details off of that. At the very end of the form, we have how many deals did you get? Okay, we're going to track how many listings did you take that week? How many buyer contracts did you get executed? And how many buyer agreements? That's what you're going to record, because then you're converting people and we want to know how well you're doing. You know, Alan's formula for this form was, Rita, I don't go home until I have at least 2 leads a day. 2 leads a day is the formula that helped Alan get to where he was going. So play this game, play it well, play it full, because it is critical. It's also an accountability form. Something missing in our industry is holding us accountable to doing what we need to be doing, which is selling. You are the rainmaker. If you don't sell, the leads don't come in, there is no business. You're in this business because you want to help people. So getting out there, making that initial contact, and filling the forms so you're strategic in how you're moving the relationships. From a phone call, face-to-faces, break breads, are you networking? Are we building your sphere? You play this game, we will build it, and you will double your income. So get busy and let's play the prospecting game.
All right.
Kyle, do you want me to finish that little part or escape out of here?
What do you mean? Sorry.
Oh, sorry. There you go. Okay. Perfect. I
Oh,
didn't
there we go.
realize it was great.
No, yeah, we're good. There you go. All right, cool. So, like Rita was talking about, we have to make contact with enough people in order to make a sale, right? So she breaks it down here. 4 points to making a sale is the initial contact. Obviously, we need to meet that person, you know, whether it's at an open house or we cold call them or we get the lead from a past client, whatever that is, right? However we get their information, we need to reach out to them and make contact, let them know what we do, who we are, how we can help them, and go from there. Step 2 is building rapport. Now, in the last few classes, we've touched on the Ford script. Now, I just sent you all an email as well. Everybody that's on this call should have an email from me now with the attachments, everything that we're going to go over in here. It's the greatness tracker, it's got the Ford script, and the theme days. Okay, so building rapport is all about. Do you have it, Justin? Are you saying something? No. Okay. So building rapport is all about Ford. That's F-O-R-D, right? So the Ford script is family, occupation, recreation, dreams. Okay. And then we close for the sale. You know, we make sure we find the need for the buyer or the seller, and we deliver our value to help them accomplish that need, right? And then follow up. You know, if they're not ready to buy right now, say you met them in an open house, we have to set a system for the follow up, and that's what the theme days are for. Okay. So Get the next slide there, Liz. So initial contact. The reason we're talking about the greatness tracker is because, like I said, we've already built our lists. We've got, our list of leads, our past clients, our database, all that stuff, right? And so we want something that keeps us on track with who to call, right? And then the greatness tracker is going to keep us on track with how many dials do we make, how many people did we talk to, give us a metric to accomplish before we're done, right? And make sure that we are consistent with our prospecting. So what we find is a lot of people will sit down, maybe we'll time block for an hour to make, phone calls or call past clients or leads or whatever it is. But then, like I said, we spend time trying to figure out who to call. What's their phone number? Or should I send them something? Whatever. Or we'll get an email while we're in that hour time block, and it's, a seller who's freaking out about their offer or whatever. And we have to respond to that. And now we get back into it, and it takes time to switch from task to task, and things like that. So with the lists and the greatness tracker, we should be able to stay on task and do an appropriate amount of prospecting to get us more leads, more sales, right? Next one there, Liz. So something that I find that also helps when we're talking to people is knowing what kind of people we're talking to. So you have knowers, people who are like just kind of the people that I'm a knower, right? And so like, give me the bullet points. Let me go with it. Like just give me the skinny, right? It's this much. This is my rate. This is my payment. Great. That works or that doesn't work for me. We're moving on, right? They're short and sweet, and they're really to the point people, right? These people like bullet points. Okay. Feelers are people who generally are more in touch with, like I said, how they feel about something. So like let's take, for example, this is a buyer that you're showing a home to, and they don't want or care about what the bullet points are and all that stuff. More or less, they're trying to figure out, will their couch fit here? Will their kids enjoy this backyard? Will their dog have enough room to run around? How are they going to feel? Can they picture their life here? So if that's like the person that you're dealing with, you want to appeal to those types of things to them to make that more real and to get them to close to the sale. Let's move my thing here. Supporters and thinkers are kind of similar, and basically you can break both of these people down into like your accountants, your engineers, people that are really, really, really detail oriented. They want to know the numbers. Supporters really want to know that this is a good investment for them, that they're looking for your expertise and your guidance to tell them, yes, that you're buying a house. It's a good investment. This home, according to the inspection, there's nothing wrong with it. It's going to be a great home for you and your family. That's what they want. They want support, right? Thinkers, on the other hand, want to know the absolute minute details. And the best way that I've ever found to determine who you're talking to quickly is to give them an MLS stat sheet of a property that maybe you're viewing, right? And see where they go with it. So if you hand them the stat sheet and they're just like, okay, it's 400,000 and it's 2,500 square feet, and yeah, that's in my budget. It's the size I want. Cool. That is a knower, right? That is someone who's about the bullet points and they just want to go. A feeler is someone who really doesn't care about what's on the MLS sheet. They like the pictures. They want to see, the backyard. They want to see the kitchen. They want to see it and feel it, right? Thinkers are going to read the MLS sheet from top to bottom, every line. They're going to want to know the taxes in the school district and everything about it, right? If there was any spuds stuff that came up, they're going to want to know every detail. So that's how you quickly determine who you're talking to. Liz, can we unmute everybody? That way, that way, if anybody's got questions, y'all can just stop me, because obviously I'm a talker. So if anybody have any questions about these types of people, who they are, how we sell to them, anything like that, how to determine who they are. Oh, all right, cool.
Really, I mean,
Go ahead, Amy.
I'm pretty clear about the types. I mean, I've done some other type of trainings that have talked about these kind of 4 categories, a little bit different names, some of the same, but yeah, you got to know your client and take a few minutes to figure out, you know, what's going to appeal to them.
Yeah.
Some people like you don't want to hear my story, right? You know, I'm a great storyteller, so I can rope them in that way. But with somebody like you, right, exactly. It's like, here's the deal, this is it, nice and crystal clear, simple, clean, and it definitely does help.
So you said, like you said, you're probably a feeler. Is that accurate?
Feeler, supporter, I kind of go, and then I can delve into thinking, but I don't stay there long, you know?
Yeah, right. But and most people fall into multiple of these categories, you know. I'm a knower and a supporter, but you know, that said, you know, like I'm heavily a knower. And the best way to like figure this out is head, heart, and gut. Basically, a knower is a head person, a feeler is a heart person, and a thinker. Or I'm sorry, back that up. A thinker is a head person, a feeler is a heart person, and a knower is a gut person. They go with their gut instinct. They want, just like I said, to go, right? They do what they feel is right. And so if you break people down into those 3 types, really, those are the 3 main ones, I think. Head, heart, or gut, you'll know how to sell to that person within seconds of meeting them. Okay?
So Kyle, just a comment from me.
Sure.
I always try and prepare for a thinker because they want all the information. So before I take anybody out where I'm not knowing them that deeply, I still prepare for a thinker because they will ask you the most awkward questions. And if you're not ready for them, you're going to feel inadequate and not completely ready to support the transaction. So they're in a way testing you, especially during early meetings, as to see how deep your knowledge is. And so I would say prepare for thinkers, and if you get in between, a jovial person and so on who does not need that data, don't throw it on them, but have it ready in case it comes up.
Absolutely. I think that's absolutely right. There's nothing wrong with being overprepared. My papa actually had a saying back in the day. It was, proper preparation prevents piss poor performance.
Mm-hmm.
If you're over prepared and you have the information that a thinker is going to want, then, you know, information is not necessarily what sells a feeler or a knower. But if you're prepared for a knower or a feeler and you don't know anything about the house, you're definitely not going to be able to sell a thinker.
Exactly.
So I like that. Good. Nothing wrong with being over prepared. Cool. Hi, Kim. Good to see you. Cool. We got a few more people jumping in here. Good to see you guys. So let's move on. Next slide there. So yeah, this is just more about, you know, the basic types of clients, you know, again, feelers, thinkers, stuff like that. But you have different types of buyers and sellers, obviously investors, sellers, buyers, rehabbers, flippers, people like that. And you probably know in dealing with these types of people that investors are going to be probably a little more thinkers, and, you know, probably some of them are knowers. You know, they're pretty bullet pointed. They're busy. They got 10 deals going at a time. They just want the bullet points and move, right? Rehabbers and flippers and stuff like that. They all have different personalities generally within their type of person, right? Think of it this way, not to offend anybody by any means, but like, if you've ever dealt with an Indian client, you know, they are, all of them, about the numbers. They are all thinkers. They all want to know every nickel and dime that goes into that. So, you know, just like that, nationality of people is a certain way. Certain types of buyers or sellers are a certain way generally, right? So you can prepare for that also. Let's go to the next one there, Liz. Cool. So an elevator speech is something, have you guys ever heard of this outside of real estate, just in business, an elevator pitch? I'm sure some of you have. So it's basically like if you were getting on an elevator and you got on an elevator with someone and they asked you what you do before you get from the first floor to the 10th floor or whatever it may be, in that short amount of time, you got 20 seconds to tell this person what you do, how you do it, how you can provide value to them, and close, right? And create a need for them, reason for them to take your business card or want to call you. So what we've done in the past is kind of take like 5 minutes, do table work, stuff like that, help people like craft their elevator speech. Does anyone on here have an elevator pitch that they're comfortable with that they want to share with us? Crickets. I didn't think so. I did not think so. So basically, an elevator pitch for me, basically what you want to do, you want to tell them who you are, one thing about you, one thing about the company, and then kind of close, right? So for me, an elevator pitch would be, my name's Kyle Sebastian. I work with VIP Mortgage. We do residential mortgage loans for homeowners, for people that want to buy or refinance, right? My company, my team is the #2 team in the state, and we are very, very efficient in what we do. I've been in the mortgage business 8 years, and I would love to help you buy or sell or refinance a home. So just quick like that. It's who I am, an advantage of working with my team, like why my team is great, something great about me. I've been in the mortgage business 8 years. My team's #2 in the state. And then I would love to help you do X, Y, and Z. So if they have a need for any of those things, now they have a reason to call me, right? So something similar to that for you guys. And you can craft it any way you want. I'm sure for an EXP agent, it's going to be something about recruiting or whatever. For a Keller Williams agent, it's going to be, we got the biggest brokerage in the country or whatever, So whatever fits you. Like Justin, you have a great background in financial planning and stuff like that. You could use that, tailor that, So any questions about elevator pitches, how to craft it, what it should be for you? Cool. Good talk. Let's go to the next one there, Liz. All right. So we've kind of gone over the Greatness Tracker at this point and talked about, the different areas of the Greatness Tracker. What questions do you guys have about this so far? Justin.
So on the talk to on the phone, the face-to-face and all those,
Sure.
I'm sure it's probably a question, but like we normally do a lot of door knocking, and COVID's kind of messed that up. We'll get back into that soon, hopefully here in the next couple of weeks. That's obviously going to put a lot more than 15 face-to-faces. For those of us that aren't a big fan of the calling, can we swap? If we had 40 face-to-faces, can we, out of the 75, say, that we have less phone calls to make for the week?
I mean,
Or is there some science to the phone call?
I mean, essentially you can tailor this to fit your business. It's just like if we strive for these metrics, I mean, if you crush face-to-faces and you did 40 face-to-faces, you door knocked and met with 40 people, and it was more than just a, hey, I'm a realtor, here's my card, let me know if you need anything. If it was, a conversation that you had, the ideal thing is that we would pull their information. We would capture that information in that interaction, whether you provide them something, maybe your app or something like that you can send them and grab their information through that. That would be ideal. But if you don't, then I mean, that's the extent of the conversation. You know, I mean, you just had the conversation, you don't have a way to follow up. But like I said, if you were able to capture their information and get 40 face-to-faces and then call those people afterwards, say you get 15 of them on the phone, that's a good percentage of your, that's a quarter of your customers for the week, you know, and it shows, you know, follow up to the people that you did meet. You know, some dude shows up on my doorstep, says, hey, I do whatever. It could be whatever. Some dude shows up on my doorstep and says, hey, I do landscaping. Hey, I do ceramic coating. I do detail work for your car, whatever it is. And I'm like, great, you know, give me your card or whatever. And he's able to provide me something, you know, like, sure, here's my number, whatever. Somehow I give him my number and he follows up with me a week later. Hey, drove through the neighborhood. Your truck looks pretty dirty. You know, I can totally come clean that for you, whatever. If he follows up with me, that's going to prompt me, you know, as a salesperson, especially, I'm going to appreciate that.
Sure.
But if someone follows up with me after, you know, just coming by and giving me the cold call or the cold knock or whatever, that's going to, like I said, move my needle to maybe do business with that person. But like I said, absolutely tailor this to however it fits your business best. If door knocking is a big driver of your business, then try to expand the face-to-face section to, you know, 30 face-to-faces, whatever it may be.
Okay.
And, you know, try to follow up with all those people.
Gotcha. Sounds good.
Awesome. And then also, when you door knock, do you like go through Monsoon or anything like that? Look them up, you know, look up any information. Can you get phone numbers and stuff like that? Or do you do skip trace on neighborhoods or anything like that?
Well, so we do Dobson Ranch and we are farming them right now. So we have in our database, I don't even know, 800
Sure.
phone numbers, emails, addresses that we hammer. And then we were door knocking, but you know, we had to stop, obviously. So our goal is, if they won't exchange information, we try to get them to use HomeBot. And so that when they log into HomeBot, it captures their information, and then we follow up with them. But
Yeah, perfect. That's what I'm talking about. That's something of value that you're offering to them, you know, and you're not asking directly for their phone number or anything like that. It's like, hey, I got this great service you can use, you know, tells you the equity in your home, some things, you know, whether you have an opportunity to refinance, that to rent for, yada, yada, yada. That's a lot of good information for a homeowner, right? That's the bait. And so, like I said, if you can get them hooked that way, great. If you can get a phone number, even better. But, you know, the three things we look for is mail, call, visit. And you're already mailing them. You're already, you know, sending out, you know, farming, you know, doing information and stuff like that. You're visiting them by door knocking. Last is we got to get some information to be able to call or email them, right?
right.
So, cool. But yeah, like I said, tailor this to however it fits your business the best. The reason that phone calls is so much bigger than the face-to-faces is because we find that there's more leverage in the phone, right? So I can pick up this phone and I can call 10 people in about 30 minutes, you know, depending on how many people answer, how long the conversations are, whatever. I can knock out 10 phone calls, 10 talk tos in 30 minutes. But it would take me a heck of a lot longer to actually go visit face-to-face with 10 people, right?
Right.
So we just find there's more leverage in the phone. So that's
Efficiency.
what's that?
More efficiency, it sounds like.
Absolutely. Absolutely. So just keep that in mind. And like I said, I've tailored it to my business. I've expanded my phone calls out to 100. You know, I split all the cells there into two and made it 100 phone calls for me instead of 60. So during the coronavirus stuff, that's all we can do, right? We can't meet face to face with people, go do break bread. So I'm calling a lot more people, right? So
Makes sense.
any other questions about the Greatness Tracker or the sections of it or anything like that? Anybody? Raise your hand. Cool. All right, moving on there. And I would like to show you, because when I do this in person, I have old Greatness Trackers of mine from like the best months that I've ever had and stuff like that. Basically, it shows that, you know, we do this weekly, and I pulled out 1 week of it and it was completely filled out. I had 60 great phone calls. I had 15 break bread or 15 face-to-faces, 5 break breads. I had the whole thing filled out. I did everything right. I completely crushed it, 100%. And in that week, obviously I had been doing this for a while, but in that week that I, did the whole thing 100%, I put 4 deals into contract. And I was like, sweet, that's awesome. And then since I did all that great prospecting that week, that rolls over into the next week. Get my next week's greatness tracker. It's filled out 100% too. I put 6 deals into contract on that one, and so on and so forth down the line. Next week, I put 4 more deals in under contract, and it was great. And then now that I've got these 14 deals from these 3 weeks of prospecting in contract, now I'm in closing mode, right? And so I'm like fighting fires, getting docs from people, doing all the stuff that a loan originator should do, right? And focusing on picking up the phone and calling. So I could literally see week to week my prospecting activity. I was making less phone calls. I was seeing less people because I was spending time in the file, trying to put out fires and stuff. And so my prospecting fell off. So what happened? I started getting less leads. I started putting less deals under contract, and it all fell off very quickly. And we do that in real estate. We do this whole roller coaster thing where we put in a lot of work prospecting up front. We get a few leads, we get a couple deals in, then we spend all of our time trying to close those deals, and we don't spend enough time prospecting in that time. And so, the next month we got 0 closings. We got 2 or 3 or 4 closings, and then we got 0 closings, and it just goes up and down and up and down because of that cycle. What the greatness tracker is for is to keep us consistent week after week after week after week, and give us an opportunity to level out our business and make it a stable, repeatable, consistent income, right? Because I think other than having, unsecure income, real estate's the greatest business ever, right? Like some months we make, 20 or 40 or $100,000 in a month, and some months we don't eat, right? So if we can level that out and do a good business and do, a good solid amount, 3 or 4 deals a month, that's a good solid business for a lot of agents, right? Cool. And we talked about, if you guys have it, I sent you just the email just a second ago with the theme days. So Monday, top 50s, VIPs, favorite people. We've already talked about those lists, right? And Herb, as we talked about before, we've done some of these steps in the previous classes. So, we can go back, you and I, offline if you like, and talk about the lists, and I'll send you the information how to build those lists as well.
Great, thank you.
Cool. This just gives us, like I said, who do we call? How do we fill up the 60 phone calls? That's who we're calling. We're calling our lists, right? So this is the second piece to that while we put the lists together. How are you guys doing on your lists, by the way? Kim, Justin, you guys, Amy? Did all that come around? Are you still using your lists, or did you just do them once and now they just sit there?
This is Amy. My lists have I'm working on, just continuing to improve them. Teresa and I actually switched from Lion's Desk over to Constant Contact.
Okay.
Just last month. So now we're kind of, restarting all over in some ways, and just really just tweaking it to really what works for us. And we found that it does cost a little bit more, but it's definitely more user-friendly and does the things that we were looking for it to do for us.
Sure. Right now is a good time to do that. Like if you have some things in your business that you want to change, you want to like pump the brakes on, switch CRMs. Right now, obviously, is a good time to do that. Right? We have the opportunity to kind of step back, slow down, pause, and do something like that. So that's good that you guys are doing that right now. So like I said, we've got our 50 VIPs and our favorite people. You put those lists into your CRM, stuff like that, birthday campaign going, stuff like that. So on Mondays, we're calling these people. On Tuesdays, we're calling current clients, doing our Tuesday updates, right? Anybody that's a seller or a buyer that you've got in contract, you need to be updating those people, talking with the lenders, stuff like that, giving them good information. Wednesdays, hot leads, old leads. Justin, for you, that could be people that you door knocked or met face-to-face during the week or over the weekend when you were out prospecting. Thursdays, past clients. gotta stay in touch with our past clients, guys. Right now is a huge time to stay in touch with your past clients because a lot of them are thinking about refinancing. And if they're going through refinancing and they get an appraisal that's, you know, they got $200,000 in equity in their property, you know, they might want to sell. Maybe they're in a position that you can help them if you're following up with them and talking to them, and they're like, hey, I really need to refinance and take cash out to pay off this whatever, you know, I don't have a job right now, whatever it is. You could provide a service and a value to them that helps them get out of a financial spot right now, but you got to be in contact with them enough to know that that is the need for them, right? So like we were talking about before, if you have the top 50 past clients and you call 12 of them a week, it's 48 in a month. Just hit 2 extra on one day when you're feeling froggy, and you're hitting all 50 of your past clients once a month. That is way more than anybody else in this business is doing. I guarantee it. Okay. And you will get business from your past clients also. I do the same. And there's been one past client has sent me probably 6 deals over the time since I closed their loan probably 3 years ago. They've sent me all of their friends and family, anybody that ever mentions to them that they need to buy a house or they're thinking about refinancing. They don't hesitate to refer me because I do follow up with them appropriately. I hit them up on Thursdays, once a week, once a month. They at least hear from me, and it's, hey, how are you doing? How's the house? What can we help you with? What can we do? You know, and, you know, provide them with other stuff. You know, I got other connections, landscapers, pool guys, roofers, whatever they need. So the call isn't just asking for business. It's me offering service to them, right? And then Fridays, you know, we try to get in touch with business people, other people that maybe have other books of business that can refer us business. So this would be, you know, lawyers, CPAs, financial planners, folks like that also have other books of business that you can refer back and forth, right? And create a beneficial business relationship between the two of you. So, cool. So that's how we fill up the 60 phone calls. Let's get the next slide. There we go. And then what do we say on these phone calls? Again, we go back to Ford, F-O-R-D. Have you guys been having any success? Have you talked to anybody? Have you guys been calling your list? Be honest with me. It's okay if you haven't. Justin, that's cool. That's fine, man. But like, we got to be self-aware and we got to know. I got on a call Monday. It's my day when I do my coaching calls with my actual coach. And I didn't complete my greatness tracker. It was not good. It was not good. I did not make enough phone calls. I did not send out enough thank you cards, you know, all that stuff. And so my punishment for that is now I got to go run a mile and I got to do it in 7 minutes and I got to record it, you know, and I have to make a 7-minute mile. He knows I hate running. So that's my punishment for that. But, you know, you got to be consistent with this stuff. So it's okay that you didn't call them, you know, the last couple of weeks or whatever, but know that you didn't call them and get back to it. All right. So let's go to the next one there, Liz. So next one. So yeah, this is just going over the metrics for the greatness tracker: 15 break breads, 15 face-to-faces, 5 break breads, 2 leverage events. If you guys are in any kind of networking groups like we got here, BNI, Chamber of Commerce, any young professional networks, things like that, anything that you go visit or meet other people at for business, those can be included in that. Also, if you do educational, like I said, if you host something like for me, this call right here is a leveraged event for me because I'm sitting here face-to-face-ish talking to 5 or 6 of you at a time, right? So that's a leveraged event for me, okay? Next one, 10 handwritten thank you cards. We've gone over this. Herb, you might have received one of these from me before. I don't know, but basically it's just a handwritten thank you card. I get them made by Vistaprint, you know, whatever, blank.
Possibly, probably.
Yeah. So, you know, like I said, write one of these, like Rita was talking about. If anybody sends you a lead, obviously we're going to send them a thank you card. We should be thanking these people that refer us business. If a vendor partner does something nice for you, they sponsor a class that you've got going on, or they come to an event that you're hosting, or whatever it is, you know, they discounted title fees for you because your borrower needed it. Thank you. Send them a thank you card. You know, being grateful for what you do get brings more business, right? Anyone that you meet with that takes the time to meet with you, coffee meeting, break bread, if you do a listing appointment, anything like that, send them a thank you card afterwards. That shows that good follow-up afterwards, right? Next slide there, Liz. And then like we were talking about before, you know, the bottom of the greatness tracker tracks how many leads did you generate? What was the outcome of that? Did we get any new listings from those leads? Did we get new buyers? Did we get new contracts? All that stuff. And if you're not seeing the results from the activity that you're putting out, let's talk about what you're doing. Let's talk about your script. Let's talk about whatever your sales process is and make some tweaks. Okay. Next slide. There we go. Yeah, and this one, this part right here, this is something that a lot of people struggle with, and I've struggled with it in the past too. Like I said, last week I did not complete my greatness tracker, and it just comes down to, did you or did you not? Okay, there's nothing emotional about this business. You cannot get upset about someone telling you no or rejecting you or not wanting to meet with you or whatever. You just move on, right? Yeah, there's a saying in the Marines, it's FIDO, F-I-D-O, it's forget it, drive on, right? And so you could use a little more colorful language if you want to, but there's nothing emotional about what we do when we're being tactical. We just have to get it done. We have to call this many people, we have to talk about these things, and we have to close for the business, right? So don't let your emotions get the best of you. If you get on the phone call and you make 10 phone calls, only 3 people answer and 2 of them tell you to go to hell, that's fine. You still talked to one person and you moved the needle. Don't let those other 2 people stop you from making another 10 phone calls, right? It's not about you. It's their problem, essentially. You know, if they're not happy to talk to you, most of you I know pretty well. You're all happy-go-lucky people. You all have good personalities and good vibes and things like that. If someone doesn't want to talk to you, it's their fault. It's their problem. Move on, okay? Cool. Any of you ever seen The Pursuit of Happiness, the movie? Yeah? No? Okay. So I know all of you have Netflix, especially right now, all right, or Hulu or whatever. You can go rent or watch The Pursuit of Happiness on Netflix or Hulu or whatever you have. This is probably the best example I've ever seen portrayed of persistence and never giving up and never fearing rejection and being persistent about what you do. Just don't ever let anyone get in your way. That's a great movie if you want to watch that. I enjoy it. Let's get the next slide. Yeah, like I said, like with the greatness tracker, the goal is just to stay on task. The goal when you're making any of these phone calls is to set an appointment or to find some way that you can help someone, do something to provide value for someone, okay? Let's get the next slide. Obviously, we talked about it, plan your calls, have your lists. Who are you calling on what day? And some of the guys that I've been coached by in the core have like weird ways of like getting this done per day. They're like, I'm gonna get 10 talk tos per day. That's pretty simple, right? Well, 10 talk tos is different than 10 calls, right? So to get 10 talk tos, you probably had to call 40 people, right? So one guy, I think it was JJ Mazzo. He's like one of the top producers in the country. He works for Cross Country Mortgage. And he puts the little plastic army men on his desk. And each time he makes a phone call and he gets somebody on the phone and talks to them, hangs up the phone, flicks that army man off the desk, like knocks him down, just keeps going. And it's tactical. He does not stop until he's got all those guys flicked off the desk, right? And so For him, that's his way of making it fun. Some guys I know, they play music in their office. They get up, they got the headphones in, they walk around, they talk to people, you know, while they're moving. They can't sit still. Whatever works for you, just make sure that you have something that makes you get it done, right? And then you can figure out for yourself how you motivate yourself. Do you need a carrot or a stick? Do you need, you know, motivation of, hey, if I get this done, I can go buy myself a beer, I'll stop by for happy hour and I'll have a beer after I get this done, whatever, or lunch, whatever. Or do you need a stick, which is, the punishment for not getting it done? What is my punishment for not getting it done? So like for me, I hate running. So I didn't finish my greatness tracker this week. My coach is making me run a mile in 7 minutes. Running a mile is not hard, but running in 7 minutes, I'm going to die. So like I said, just figure out what motivates you. And I told him, I said, hey, it does not motivate me for you to say, hey, if you get this done, you can do X, Y, or Z, or we'll, give you this, or you get a gold star. I don't care. What motivates me is, as I've always been coached and played football and sports and all those things, right? And I had coaches that pushed me harder to do better because they knew I could, right? But the punishment for not doing whatever it was, for not doing enough reps or running the play right, was always negative. It was always negative reinforcement. It was, you have to run, or you got to do hills, or you got to do push-ups, or whatever. And so that's what works for me. So figure out what works for you. Get an accountability partner, someone that can help keep you accountable to getting it done. And they can, you can have your own carrot, or they can be the stick. Make sense? Cool. All right, next slide. Oh yeah, it's pretty simple. If the phone's not ringing, pick it up and call someone. And like we talked about before, he or she who makes the most contact wins. Real estate is a contact sport. And, this whole COVID thing has kind of challenged that for me, because it was always, for me, it was about getting out and seeing as many people as I possibly could and making a bunch of phone calls and things like that. But contact comes in a lot of different ways. It comes from being face-to-face with people, eating lunch or dinner or having coffee, calling them, doing a Zoom call, whatever it is. But contact is the key here, okay? Let's see. Next one, where is? And then back to time management. Again, we've gone over this, but figure out what your red and your green time is. You want to have more green time than red time. Green time is when we're making money. Green time is when we're on the phone with people, when we are in front of people, when we're doing listing presentations, showing buyers, things like that. We don't want to have red time in our calendar. Red time is usually stuff that we can delegate, okay? Or that we can do less of. If you're writing a contract, or you're reviewing a Benzer or something like that, and you have an assistant, let them do it. Herb, I know that might be sort of more your realm, because I think between you guys, do you have a team or assistant? You're muted. There you go.
Yeah, we have a transaction coordinator or manager who also helps us with certain other roles in the office. Mm-hmm. And that releases to provide the team and ourselves more green time. So yeah, we work towards that. It's always, when you're on a road to constant improvement, you're always pulled into managing things, improving things, but our balance seems to be working pretty well.
Good. That's good that you do have someone that you can delegate those activities to. Like I said, those are red activities that aren't necessarily moving the needle for you there. If it's something that you can train someone to do repeatedly, so like I said, filling out a contract, obviously the terms of different sales or contracts change, but if they need to check this box and fill in this amount and put this here and that there, that's something that you can train them to do. That's similar each time. Always try to delegate that stuff. The thing that you need to be focused on is always prospecting and selling and bringing in the leads and making it rain, leads to continue to drive the business forward, to put fuel in the tank, right? Cool. Next one. Okay, and that's pretty much it, guys. So I just want to, make sure that we've covered everything. And I know this is a weird, like a different format than what we usually do, so it may not be as impactful or like in your face as it usually is. I know it's usually pretty good. So just to review, what questions do you guys have? What have we covered that maybe you don't understand? What can I help with?
How do you complete things on the tracker relative to internet in conversations or leads?
So for me, what I put on the phone conversations is, like I said, obviously phone calls. I do text messages also. So if I send a text to a client or someone texts me, I have a digital app that's my business card. So if they download that app and they request information, I talk to them about that. I put that on there. As long as we've had a good conversation, you can judge for yourself what is a good conversation and what is not worthy of going on the Greatness Tracker. If it's just a, hey, how you doing? And they don't respond, it's not a conversation.
Right.
If they respond back and they're like, oh, we're doing great, whatever, we're managing through the COVID stuff and whatnot. Like, okay, great. That's awesome. Is there anything I can help with? And you have a legitimate conversation, something of substance. Absolutely put it on the Greatness Tracker, whether that's on the phone or via text or Facebook Messenger or, whatever you use. If you do it through, like the ladies we're talking about, Amy and Jerry are using Constant Contact now. If they start doing email campaigns and things like that, and they start getting replies to that, and they have a good conversation with that client from that medium, sure, put it on there. And give yourself initially, it's hard. I'm not going to lie. I still fail at this often. Okay. I still fail to complete the Greatness Tracker most weeks. Like, it's hard, to get everything done. So with that said, give yourself some slack, put people on there, to get some wins, like fill it out a few times, like, as best you can. And don't be too hard on yourself. I used to only put people on there that I had a phone conversation with and that I thought it was really great, or that I set an appointment with, and I would wind up with 12 or 20 conversations in a week that I thought were worthy. But as I put all of the conversations I have on there, I fill it up a little bit more. It becomes a positive thing for me, right? It's like, man, I'm close. I can make 10 more calls and complete this. I'm sitting here on Friday afternoon, getting ready to go. I grab my keys. I look at my Greatness Tracker and I'm like, man, it's got 4 slots left. Come on, you can make 4 more phone calls, right? And so that makes me sit back down and bam, knock that out. It feels good to complete it. So, like I said,
thank you.
Wherever you're generating leads from, whether it be on the phone, via Facebook or whatever, if you're having conversations with someone of substance, include it. Okay. Like I said, voicemails don't count if you leave a voicemail. Like I said, if they call you back and you have a conversation, great. But just leaving the voicemail or making the phone call does not count. Okay. What other questions do you guys have? That was a good question, by the way, Herb. A lot of people, that's the initial question most people have.
I thought that was going to be the response, but just wanted to check.
Sure. Kim, did you have something?
Oh yeah, I was just waiting for you.
Go for it.
Is this Excel? This is an Excel spreadsheet, right?
Yes, ma'am.
Is this meant to be in addition to CRM, where you take the information from here and move it over into your CRM, or how do these two things go together?
So like I said, this is strictly to track your activity and then the results that come from said activity. So when I first started using the Greatness Tracker, what I did, since it is an Excel spreadsheet, I used to print it out every week on Monday. Every Monday I would print it out and I would have a paper one on my desk. And anytime I talked to someone, this does not have to be new people either. You know, anytime I call you as one of my agents and I check in on you, hey, how's it going? You know, how's this going? Anything we can help with, whatever. Even though, you know, you and I know each other well, you go on the greatness tracker as having a conversation. Anytime I call Justin, we have a conversation, he goes on the greatness tracker, right? This is not just new people. So
do you have a new tab for every week? Is that how this Excel spreadsheet is set up?
No, so basically what I do, I just have the file. It just says greatness tracker Excel on my desktop. I open it up. I start, you know, with my week, I start calling people and all that. I'll put in who I've talked to, and I will save it, you know, greatness tracker week of 4/20, you know, and then, you know, after that week's over, it goes into a separate folder and it shows, you know, and then I open up the new one the next Monday, start filling that one out. So I don't have one Excel form or one Excel sheet that has, you know, each week. I don't have a 52 tab Excel sheet. I just have the greatness tracker itself, and then I save it as the week of, you know, whenever it starts. Does that make sense?
Yeah. I just was wondering why you didn't have it as soon as you started talking about it that way, why you don't have it set up in that manner.
Honestly, just saves
Is that
me
just
more
personal
time.
preference, or because it seems like it would be a lot easier to track and even move information around and reference older information if they were on one sheet that had separate tabs.
Yeah,
Just an idea.
You absolutely can do that. Like I said, you can open up one. You can open it up one time and add 52 sheets and have 52 weeks. You date them for the appropriate week and whatever week.
So this can be just okay, got it.
You could absolutely do it that way. I just find that it's simpler for me to, like I said, I'm not using this as, hey, I talked to that person. I need to take their name or information from the greatness tracker into my CRM. That's not what this is for. The greatness tracker is just, how many people did I talk to? Did I do the appropriate amount of activity this week to move the needle, to keep my business moving forward, right? As I'm having these conversations with people, I'm updating them in our CRM. You know, I'm talking to a new lead that you sent, you know, as soon as they answer the phone, their name goes on the greatness tracker, but then I'm in our CRM and I'm updating their notes as, you know, Joe Schmo, whoever, you know, wants to buy in Buckeye, $225 purchase price, whatever. So that's all going into a separate thing, you know, either as I'm talking to them or after I get off the phone and I get all of their information, it gets updated there. Nothing related to the CRM goes on the greatness trackers. They're separate. Make sense?
Yep.
Cool. Okay. And like I said, this really is an accountability form is all it comes down to. It's just to keep us on track, make sure that we're doing the appropriate amount of activity, because the problem in real estate is really, you know, we got into it for the freedom or you love talking to people or whatever it was, whatever reason you got into real estate. There's nobody necessarily telling you got to be here at 9 and leave at 5. And, you know, you got to call this many people or make this many sales. We don't have that in real estate necessarily. There's no one cracking the whip or keeping us accountable. So that's essentially what this form is for. And if you have the sort of wherewithal to keep yourself accountable and to do this each week, it'll help your business. If you don't, then I suggest getting an accountability partner, someone else that you can share this with and say, hey, we got to get this filled out each week. And if we don't, what are the consequences? And that goes back to the carrot or the stick, which motivates you, right? Cool.
Okay.
Excellent.
Yeah, that helped.
Good. Any other questions about the greatness tracker itself? Okay. So like I said, the best way to implement this to start out is every Monday, print it out. Just print it out, have it, you know, on your desk or in your folder, whatever. If you carry something with you to appointments all that time, keep it in there. Anytime you meet with someone, write their name down and just fill this thing out as best you can, week after week after week. And if you continue to fill it out in any kind of consistent fashion, even if it's not 100%, you get 40 phone calls, or you get 3 break breads, 6 face-to-faces, and you do that week after week after week after week, that's an incredible amount more contact than most of your competitors. Guarantee it, because they're not tracking this. They're not staying accountable. Okay. Cool. So start out by just printing it, keeping it on your desk, handwriting it in. Once you get used to using it, I've gone to actually updating it on my computer. I just open the file, keep it there, and update it as I go, because I spend a lot of time in the office nowadays. So any questions about that implementation of it? Cool. All right, guys. Other than that, I think we're at 2:20, so we slotted an hour and a half for it, but we're 10 minutes early. Just want to make sure I covered everything, that it was beneficial for you guys. Any feedback, stuff that we could do better doing it in this Zoom format?
No, it's probably about the best we're going to be able to do right now.
Right.
I think it's great.
Thank you, Herb.
Yeah, I'm good
It
with
works
it.
Do you guys prefer to go back to in person at some point, or do in person in addition to this?
I'm always
I would
in person.
I would say that, it's probably more efficient, and what I'm finding in using Zoom is you get very focused on what you're doing at that moment in time. Whilst if you're in the office, you hear the phone ring and people walking in and around. This is a focal point. There's a beginning and there's an end, and you can move on, and hopefully you captured more than before. So I like the platform.
Exactly. Okay. Thank you, Herb. Appreciate that.
Yeah, Kyle, I have to agree. Because for me, for Teresa and I, it's about an hour of our time to drive out there and drive it back. And, so for me, it's definitely a benefit to do it this way. I mean, I'm a people person. So I love the social aspect of being around people, because then I'm even more focused when I'm in a classroom setting. But I'm good with this. I think that this is just as adequate as being face-to-face. I mean, we can talk to you, ask you questions, we can interact. We still see the videos, and I'm really happy that we're starting back, because I've just kind of needed something to remind me, to motivate me. And this was like the next piece, was the tracker. How do I keep track of all this? I was just kind of writing little notes in my calendar, what I did, but having it all in one place gives me a better visual. I'm a visual learner, a visual thinker. So when I see it, oh yeah, I can pick it up and go, yeah, I still need to finish 2 more there. Let's rock it out. Or I've got this almost done and it's only noon. Right on. I'm going to go have fun.
Right.
So yeah.
Okay. Excellent. Well, I'm glad you guys have found value in it, and it's still impactful, even in this format. I enjoy seeing you guys face to face. I'm a people person too, but if this is good for you guys, we will continue to do it this way. Obviously, it's probably a little bit more efficient. Obviously, no drive time, stuff like that. So great. It keeps us from having to set up and tear down the room and provide breakfast and all that stuff. So it's good on us too. So if you guys are okay with it, we'll continue in this format. Share the class and the links with other people, other realtors. It's just as quick and easy as hitting forward on your email. Send it to whoever else you think could benefit. We'd love to have them. There's obviously no class capacity in this format, so that would be great. The more we can grow this thing, the more input we can get from other people who are maybe doing well in their business, and grow and learn from each other. Okay.
Right. Thank you very much.
Thanks,
Thank you,
Herb.
Kyle.
No problem. You guys email me if you have any questions. I sent you all the attachments, so you should have those. If you have any issues with them or you have any questions about how to use them, just shoot me an email or give me a call. Okay.
Good. Thank you.
Yeah.
See you guys.